Hello and welcome to part 7 of our 50 pages a day War and Peace read through quarantine edition. I am Matthew Robinson. Joining me as always is Dimitri Portnoy. Welcome, Dimitri.
Hello, Matt. Hello, everybody.
Today we will be discussing pages 350 to 400. We are going to mainly be dealing with Pierre. We all love Pierre chapters. This is a big Pierre section. And we get maybe our two favorite characters finally coming together, Pierre and Prince Andre.
Not Pierre's wife and Boris?
Well, that is some spicy gossip happening there. I mean, poor dumb Boris is getting taken in by the woman who cuckolded our sweet Pierre.
Yes, and Tolstoy doesn't mince words about them.
No.
I don't think he ever states, as the author, that Ellen slept with Dolokhov, but with Boris, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's looking for a safe harbor. She is in the Russian society of that day. She would be sort of sadly considered tainted goods. So she's definitely looking for somebody that she can find financial and social safety with, and perhaps Boris is naive enough to be that for her.
I was looking forward to the reunion of Boris and Natasha.
Yes.
But that's probably not going to happen.
Very excitingly, we visited your hometown, Dimitri. The place of your birth.
Kiev or Kiev,
yes.
And in fact, that monastery of the caves is called Pecherskaya Lavra, and I visited it many times.
Wow.
It's a beautiful building with golden onion domes in white in the middle of the Kiev Botanical Gardens on the bank of the Dnieper, the big river that flows through the Kiev. So it's a beautiful place.
Wow. And that's fascinating. I'm so glad that we're getting close to home with the actual locations here. And in that location, that is where Pierre has gone to attempt to do good.
Yes, after being inducted into Skull and Bones.
Yes, so Pierre's the Scientologist now.
It's very interesting for me that I had no idea why Skull and Bones was called Skull and Bones, the secret society at Yale, until I read War and Peace.
That's right. So
a book written
during his strange
150 years ago.
Ritualistic induction into the Masonic temple, he stands in a room with a skull and a pile of bones.
Yes, in a casket.
Yes, meant to...
Mystery solved.
Yeah, there you go. And he's supposed to ponder mortality and life and his death and the brain and the body and all of that. And with that, though, he feels finally at peace in himself, although he's constantly finding this newfound peace that he has within him butting up against the reality around him. And he
feels he finally has a mission.
Right.
And that mission is maybe more complicated than he thinks.
Yes. And his mission is to do selfless acts, to focus not on himself, but on others and making the world a better place. And he quickly learns, though, that more rubles, more problems. And he now he says he felt richer when he only had 10,000 rubles to his name than he does now with a yearly salary of 500,000, because as he explains to us in a nice bit of ledger keeping, he actually is broke. Even with that 500,000 a year, he's having to take loans because everybody around him circles like carrion crows, and they all take their pieces, and he's left with nothing.
There's a very funny, wonderful line in that ledger that says, and somehow he spent $100,000 rubles, and he doesn't know how he managed to do it.
Yeah.
Or on what?
Well, it's because, as we're learning, that, wherever there's a rich person, there are 40 other people who are suckling at that teat. And his teats are all occupied at the moment. But he has decided not to focus on the business side of his estate, but instead on the managerial side. And he wants to free his many serfs, and build them hospitals and educate them and free them of the yoke of slavery. And he finds that it's a lot harder than he anticipated.
Because many more people profit from that slavery than himself.
Exactly.
There are all sorts of slave drivers and managers and intermediate people who fatten their pockets with his largesse. And everybody's invested in the system.
Yeah, and everybody tries to talk him out of it, and they explain that by freeing them, it's only going to make their lives worse, and that they enjoy their physical labor. And even when he meets with Prince Andre gives him a litany of reasons why it's bad to free the slaves, giving such ridiculous ideas as, if they're about to die, it's better to let them die because medicine will only leave them crippled and a burden on the rest of their family for 10 years. Whereas if they were just dead, everyone around them would be happier and not have...
What a ridiculous idea. No one this week could have possibly stated the same idea.
I think we're also glad,
especially not the lieutenant governor of Texas.
We're also glad that idea stayed where it belonged in the early 19th century and never made it to our present era.
I thought that the discussion they had on the ferry, discussion Pierre and Andre had, where Pierre represented, I think, the typical liberal who's well-intentioned but naive and wants to build public projects. And Andre, as an inherently good libertarian who thinks that there is no common good, that he's only responsible for his person and whatever other people, family members, are part of his person. And what's interesting that he can only express good in negative terms, as an absence of regret, an absence of illness, which is a conversation that Ayn Rand could have been having with Keynes, or again, any Republican could be having with a Democrat today. Except not as concisely and perfectly stated.
Yeah, but also there's a lot more humanity behind the scenes to Andre than you'd find in an Ayn Rand. I mean, that beautiful moment he has where he comes in and assumes his son is dead, but finds him alive in his crib and is genuinely, finds his purpose in life there, which is all he has now is his son, and that's all he is now is a father, and that's all he cares about. And even when he's talking to Pierre, and Pierre says, you what do you mean you live for yourself? You have a son, you have a sister, you have a father, and he goes, those are no different than myself to me, which is a beautiful statement. Yeah,
flesh of my flesh. Yes,
he loves them as much as he loves himself, and to take care of himself is to take care of them. But this, unlike a typical Facebook conversation between Democrats and liberals, one person's mind is actually changed at the end. I mean, liberals and Republicans, one person's mind is actually changed at the end of this ferry ride together. And I think Pierre is beginning to have an effect on Prince Andre.
Even though he is not the perfect messenger.
No.
Even though everything Andre accuses Pierre of, Pierre is actually guilty. He is naive. He hasn't thought everything through. His public projects are at best have an ambivalent effect.
Yeah.
And his wealth redistribution schemes wind up enriching the wrong people.
Right. He's just going to be taken advantage of by different people now.
According to Tolstoy, but what does Tolstoy know?
Yeah, Tolstoy did this exact thing, and we'll talk about that one day. He did free all of his serfs and attempted to better their lives, and it was something he believed in very strongly. So we once again meet our old friend, the Sky, as Prince Andre is left staring at the sky on the ferry as Pierre's words resonate deeply within him. And he has a momentary feeling of the same feeling he felt when he looked at the sky, of feeling hope and a connection with the universe and eternity and himself. And then it's fleeting and quickly disappears as he remembers his lonely, angry, atheistic life. But Tolstoy lets us know that some change has been made that will forever change him.
It's almost like he took a tab of ecstasy.
Yeah, exactly.
Which shows that ecstasy, I'm not a proponent of it, I've never had it, but actually activates something that in the brain.
Well, I am,
or in the mind.
I am on ecstasy right now and have been for every episode we've done this. So no.
I've drunk a quarter liter of vodka.
As you should.
Because,
as you should.
As I should, yes.
That's just to get you going. That's just your morning juice. We then quickly jump to a brief moment of Nikolai before we hit page 400. Senior Rostov is back where he belongs, being an asshole on the front line, helping steal food for his regiment, and, basically running from debt and Sonia.
Yes. Debt to his father.
Yeah,
he hasn't really talked to Sonia.
No.
Which is astonishing.
But
absolutely astonishing.
He feels happier here with his routine and, less time to gamble and ruin his life and everybody's life around him. But he's clearly running and feeling good because he's, he's in a uniform and beyond reproach.
He's back with his family of soldiers.
Exactly.
I think quite literally so.
Yes, exactly. And that takes us to page 400.
Matt, if you had asked me, Dmitry, what happened in these pages, I wouldn't be able to tell you. There's such a contrast for me in this part with the previous part. In the previous part, there were big events and big changes. And here, everyone is confused. Everyone is drifting. And it's literally the opposite side of the coin, of people looking for a way through and not seeing it.
And we get to me what is the most Tolstoyan of Tolstoy scenes, which is just two people talking about God. And in wonderful dialogue that would rival, Aaron Sorkin or Paddy Chayefsky or any great screenwriter, and just dialogue that just is like candy to read. And Tolstoy, that's what he does best, is just two people discussing their ideologies and arguing in a very Russian way, which is full of love and not anger.
Yes, but a lot of conflict.
Yes, of course.
At the same time.
Yes. And that's it. So tomorrow we'll go 400 to 450 and we'll check in then.
Yes.
All right. Take care, Dmitry. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.